All right, all right. I think I still have the correct noise reduction stuff in place because it looks like the microphone's behaving, so that's pretty awesome. So, my cat's sad because he's stuck down at the bottom floor here with me because uh, there's some dishes in the sink, and he would jump up in the sink and gobble them up. Yeah. Sorry, kitty cat. At least you're not uh, like in the bedroom or something. You got the whole run of the downstairs. All right. So, what we're doing is the next step, and this is going to be a little bit daunting as well. So we'll just have to give it a spin and jump right into it. Otherwise, I'm I'm going to be too intimidated by the project to start it. Uh, so what we're doing next is, oops, there we go. I can aim. I'm trying to click. Okay, let's say we put 4 or 5 rounds in this magazine, right? And what we finished yesterday is that clicks into place, which is really cool. But what should work next is if we get the slide lock back, right? You can see that round right in there, ready to go into the chamber, which is great. That's what it should look like. So far, so good. Now, my model for the slide is a little bit wrong. You can see it's clipping into the back of the cartridge a little bit. Uh, yeah. And we could, hey kitty cat, we could try to fix that. We could try to fix that. I'm curious, how does that look? So let's just compare on this gun for a second. So, I need to comb my hair. So this gun is clear. Uh, yeah. Magazine is empty. There we go. And nothing in the tube. All right. Uh, but what we're interested in is where does the breech face show up? I guess it's a little bit rearward of the ejection port. On a flashlight here. See if I can get this to where you can see it. So my point is, there you go. You can see the breech face is a little further back there, which is fine. Whereas on my model here, you can see that flat part of the breech is too close. So let's fix that model super quick. I think that's not going to be too big of a pain. So let's go documents and here and here, Makarov, and then let's open the Blender file real quick. Is it this one? Oh no, it's this one, isn't it? There we go. All right. So this is always fun to open up because I think it looks quite nice in Blender, which is cool. This was a project to model this. We did model this, and that's pretty fun. Which is nice because in theory we still remember what we did. So let's go view and let's go select invert and then hide. There we go. So now we're just dealing with the slide. And then let's get in here. So basically, I want to move. And this is my first time using Blender on this computer, and I don't have my selection preferences set up the way I want. I'm used to the old Blender method, and I'm too stubborn to change. So let's see. Just have to remember. How to do this. It's got to be in here, right? I'm probably staring right at it. Here we go. Select with right mouse button. There we go. It's under key map. All right. So we want to go to select. Well, what if we do edges? And then what if we try to get this edge loop right here? Well, that's gonna not work because then it's gonna start working into these serrations here. So just kidding. Let's go faces. And then let's just move this face by itself. That should work, right? Well, not really. No, that doesn't work. Shoot. Okay. Well, let's think about this. How can we do this? How can we do this? Right. We could extrude this in a little bit. Right, so we could do an inset face. Now it's not going to like that, so we might have to kind of remake that. I have to come in here and kind of clean this up. Use my other mouse that's got a better working scroll wheel, huh? There we go. All right, and then let's go to here and let's say, let's merge these like that. And then same for this mess down here. In fact, we really don't need all this geometry, so we could merge that. And then do the same thing over here. Now, we don't want to mess up our symmetry here. It's not too important, but... Right. Now, if we wanted to get fancy with this, we could try to make this... Oh, well, I might have just goofed up, because we want to... Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Let's go like this. So why is this point here? It's because it's coming from over there, isn't it? If we just merge these two at last, like that, still get a weird overlapping polygon here. Merge at last. Can we do like an edge loop here? There we go. I could have literally just selected the polygon is what I wanted to do. Um, yeah, what if we scale this back up? Move it, that, and then scale it up, move it up. Hmm. Scale X. Right, the issue is the serrations actually are punching into the slide, which is good. They should do that, right? But then this inside polygon is going all the way out to the edge here. Right. So here's an idea. Here's an idea. Hang on. Let's back up a little bit. Instead of insetting this face, let's not do that. Let's just remove this polygon. All right? And then hear me out. And then let's just make a new polygon that covers the area we want. So let's go here and let's skip over, see, like that. Yeah. Now we're talking. And then we could make these be a separate face because we still want to cover this surface, right? Well, or honestly, what it should do is this should be filled in, actually. This is like a solid piece of metal inside of here, right? So now this might be an awful non-planar surface. It's doing okay with it. It's doing okay with it. That's probably not the way we want to do that, but yeah, it'll work for the moment. You're probably not going to ever see that. Hopefully it'll triangulate it when it exports it, so I'm not going to sweat it too much. All right. Right, we could even run a triangulate on it right now, but let's just go with that. So then we need to fill up this top section, right? So, can I see around that? Yeah. That a face. And then really, this should be inset as well, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. um, but now what we can do is we can take these faces, um, and what do we want to do? We can extrude them in the Z direction, right? Or the Y direction, rather. Like this, and now it shouldn't conflict with anything, I don't think. I think that should be okay. Now, here's a question. There shouldn't be a face right here. See that? Um, so let's, right, we're gonna remove that face and then we're gonna remake it, but have it connect on those two polygons instead. Right? And there shouldn't be an edge there. Yeah, I think that's all right. And then we can go. Like that and remake that face. Now, it kind of looks to me like I've got more than one point right here. Let's see. Nope, that's one vertice. So that's fine. Yeah, I don't hate it. That's not a bad solution, I don't think. Now, if we really wanted to get picky about this, there should be a little indentation here for where the cartridge sits. Kind of like here. Can we take this apart for a second? No, we got to go to the takedown notch. Right, so you can see there's the safety notch right there, but then there's an extra takedown notch right here, and we're latched. Oops, we're latched into that with the safety, and that holds it back. And then we're gonna push on this, and that's gonna pop out the slide stop, which is right here. And it's a little stiff, but you can see if we're gonna push on this, and kind of wiggle it, but that's gonna start coming out of there. Pretty cool. And then just wiggle it some more, and out she comes. There we go. You can see it's lifting up. And then it's just going to come out like pop. So there's that slide stop. So you can see how that pin, that bar came all the way across, right? Yeah, oops, this piece. Yeah. So now that's a hole through and through there. And now we can push down the disassembly notch right there, right? And the slide will come forward again. And then it'll just come all the way just straight off the front, just like this. Okay. Now we're apart, which is cool. Now the one thing on this is a clone of a Browning high power, right? So the recoil spring here has a right way and a wrong way to put it in. It's got to be upside right. And you can see there's that little black loop thingy right here. This piece. And it's got a right way up. This is the right way up, and this would be the wrong way up. The other way, like this, see? So that's important to keep in mind. The flat part needs to be facing the right way. But this is what I wanted to show. So barrel goes in there like that, so you can just pop that out. Cool. But if we have enough light here, let's see. Now we're going to need to shine a flashlight on that. There you go. So right there, here, let me make the screen a little bigger, gosh. There it is, if it'll focus. Maybe. Oh well. What I wanted to show is there's a cutout right inside here, and that cartridge actually sits right in there. Uh-oh. Oh, my screen just blipped off for a second. So if I grab a cartridge out of here, I think I can probably just slip it in there. Slip it behind the extractor. I can do it properly. Sure. There we go. Hey, that's actually pretty cool. I've not done that before. But you can see that it's held in there, right there, in that little slot. And so right against the back of it there, it's being held in that little notch. This camera doesn't like focusing on stuff that's close. Oh well. So I'm actually gonna have to kind of like tap it out of there. There we go. So anyway, that little indentation right here is what I was trying to show. Is there's that. So we could model that. Let's put this guy back together. So barrel back in, and then spring back in the right way around, right? So goes in that little hole right there for the spring. And then this way is the right way up because there's that little flat piece right there. And that flat piece lines up with the flat piece right here. If I had it the other way around, if I had it round side up, it would goof it up when I tried to use it. So that's important. And then we just kind of pop that into place there. There it is. Yep. So flat to flat. That's the spring the right way around. It's in there good. It's in the groove. And then this goes back on here. Just like that. And then we can, you see these notches again here. This is probably boring, sorry. But we go to the second notch there with the safety. It's hard to do it not looking at it, huh? There we go. So now it's holding it back like that on the safety. And then we got to get the slide stop back in there. So just line it up properly, and then it takes a little bit of a jiggle. So you kind of line it up, a little pressure, jiggle. There it goes. We're all back together. And we just pop down the thing. Good as new. Good times. Okay. Anyway, that took way longer than I meant to do. I apologize. I've got my light on my flashlight still. The whole point of all that is we could, if we wanted, and now I better since I just took all that time to show it, model a breech face on here. It really should have it. I'm going to look at this again to see how it's supposed to look. Not that that's going to be the same on a Makarov, but it's the same idea. So when it's in there, yeah, that whole area is kind of recessed out, isn't it? Yeah, we can do that. That'll just be a little bit of a Boolean, you know? We can do that. Right. Or if we don't want to Boolean it, we can just yeah, there's a couple ways. There's a couple ways. Boolean should be fine. Boolean should be fine. So let's put the cursor right on that surface, right? And then let's look at our 3D cursor, and let's just center it. So on the x-axis, the 3D location, we want to have it be 0. It's right there in the middle. And then we don't want it rotated at all. And then let's add a cylinder there. So let's go. How do I? Is that not my interact menu? Ah, that's not what I wanted. Do that again. 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. Oh, you know, we need to go out of edit mode for a second. Add mesh cylinder. Let's go down to 24 vertices, maybe. And this is a 9mm. Oh, you know, I didn't think about it. I've got my camera way too big still. Sorry? We want it to be rotated around the x-axis. And it's way too big. It wants to be 9mm radius. Radius, so half of 9mm, so 5.4 millimeters, 4.5. Okay, there we go. Maybe a little bigger. So let's, well, it should be about, well, but the projectiles, hang on, we should look at the spec. Nine millimeter Makarov. In Dvorak. There we go. So here's our dimensions. So on the rim here, it is actually almost 10 millimeters. You see that? Right. So that's what we want. So we could actually go up to 10 millimeters, and that'd be plenty close. Because, you know, there's got to be a little bit of tolerance there. So let's do 10 millimeters to make it easy. 10. Oops. That can't be right. Hang on. 10 millimeters. Oh, this is the radius, though, so 5 millimeters. There we go. That's right. All right, and it doesn't need to be this long. Let's say it's maybe 2 centimeters. Doesn't really matter as long as, yeah, it just fits within our space here. That's good. And then I think we want it to be a channel then that cuts all the way back in. So let's go like this. Something like that. And then where do we want to position it? We want it to be in line with the bore. So let's go. Let's see. Which keyboard do I want to be in here? 3, I think. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Right, I'm modifying the origin, and that's not what I want. All right, just do this for now. I have my keyboard set up with hotkeys, but I know I have to reset that up, so I'll not fiddle with that for now. We wanted the back, not the front, apparently. There we go. All right, so yeah, this should be in line with the bore, more or less, so that's close enough. And then, yeah, I think, let's see if I can't find a picture of an actual Makarov breach. Let's see. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? Let's look at some pictures. See if we can't find one. We do breach face. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, interesting. So it actually kind of, yeah, and I guess that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I believe that. Here's another picture. Now this is a Tokarev, so it's not the same. Yeah, I believe that. I'm seeing a lot of pictures like this, so I believe that that's actually how it's supposed to look. All right, and we don't have to model it perfectly. We don't have to get anywhere near close. It just has to be close enough that it's going to be functional, right? So, uh, right. So what it's actually supposed to do is there's supposed to be another shelf like back inside here, which wouldn't be too hard to do. So hang on, let's get back to this object, and then we could go with this face. How do we want to do this? We want to add some extra geometry here. Right. So we could go back like this. Now, I'm not sure how far back that goes, but let's just put it there for now. And then if we go back to working with points, we could merge these at last. Merge at last. And then that gives us kind of the shape we're looking for. Yeah, and that'll be okay, I think, for what we need right now. So then we can just Boolean these two things together. Let's shade this guy smooth. So let's go filters. Modifiers, rather. Edge split. There we go. Good. And then let's go. Why is my spacebar not my menu? Why is my spacebar not my menu? Key map. Spacebar action search. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Cool. Perfect. And that's probably about the right depth, honestly. Yeah. I think my I think my dimensions are way out of whack on this Makarov, and that's okay. We tried to get it as close as we could, and it's going to be close enough, I think, to work for what we're trying to do here. So, uh, this I'm just call it cylinder is fine. Um, let's get back over to this guy and let's go modifier, add modifier Boolean. Uh, let's do difference, and let's say the object is cylinder. And move that above here, I think. Yeah, that's better. And then if we hide the cylinder, we can see what the result is going to be. That's the only cylinder object, right? Difference. Well, that is not working. I'm not sure why it isn't. I always get hung up on these things. Um, right. So hold on. Let's make sure I'm talking about the right. Oh. Oh, wait a minute. Weird. Yeah, that's not working. That's not working. All right, maybe better idea. We can kind of do this by hand too if we need to. Yeah, maybe because the weird. Oh, well, that's working. Although I don't like the difference it's having up here. Let's go wireframe and make sure this isn't goofing up our mesh. I don't think it is. Right? That's the cut I want to make. That's the cut I want to make. It might just be changing the shade smooth element of it. So let's say I. That's weird. It is modifying See that? It's adding extra edges over here. See that? Let me, like, watch this edge right here. See those extra edges being made? That's not great. Uh, well, that seems like the, well, how do I know it's not messing stuff up elsewhere though as well? I don't like that. Hmm. Right, I mean, we could do something kind of janky here. We could do something kind of janky here. So let's get rid of this boolean for a second. Okay. And then let's duplicate the slide. Okay. I'm going to hide the slide. I'm going to start with just the slide 2 right now. Now, I'm going to select this face and this face, and then I'm going to go invert selection. Was it Control and I? Yeah, there we go. I'm going to delete everything else. Cool. And then can we just extrude this a little bit so we have some actual geometry here? Hang on. Let's go extrude and then just pull it. And then we've got like a doubled up face here. So I think that's okay. Okay, this is a little funky, so bear with me, right? But then, uh, now let's rename this from cylinder to breach. Breach cut. And then let's go here and let's say add a boolean. Telemarketer. Add a boolean to difference with breach cut. And right there, easy peasy, we've got it. Now let's reorder these so the edge split is in the right spot. All right. There she be. And we could even do an edge bevel on this, and that would look kind of nice, I think. Let's go ahead and just apply that boolean now. So let's go apply. So now we don't need this breach cut anymore, but I'm going to use it again. Well, no, I think I'm going to add a new cylinder. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. And then let's say add cylinder. And here we go. Yep, that's actually pretty good. I'm going to cut this down to only 12 vertices. And let's shrink it much smaller, like that or even less, like in half again. 05? Yeah, that works. And then we want to rotate it 90. There we go. Because that's going to be our firing pinhole. Right. And does that kind of match? Does that kind of jive with our pictures we're seeing? I mean, if it doesn't, it's kind of too late now, I suppose, but um like this. Yeah, I mean, that's not too far off. If anything, it could be a little deeper, and that breach, the firing pin hole is actually not tiny. So let's increase this up again. Oops. I mean, that's a little too big, though. Is it? It's maybe a little too big. And yeah, this should extend a little further down than we've got it right now, but we can fix that after we put the meshes back together. Um, yeah, let's go 0.06 maybe. Looks about right, huh? Maybe? 0.08? Doesn't really matter. We're splitting hairs at this point. That looks good. All right. And so yeah, we'll take this and we'll pull it back to here. It doesn't have to be super far back, but that's fine. And then that's fine. And then let's go here. Let's add another Boolean. And it's just a cylinder. And again, like that. Hide the cylinder. And just like that, there's our firing pin hole. And we can apply it. So let's go apply. Sick. And then let's look at this and let's go. Okay, well, think. Am I holding the wrong buttons? Usually you can get it to select in a whatever, combine edge loops for you. That's okay. We can shade everything smooth, right? I think so. That's okay. We'll just do it like this, huh? Yeah, because of the edge split, it should be fine. Okay. So now, here's the thinking. Let's delete all these faces that we don't need. Right? That should be safe. Right? Okay, that's what we want to take over. And now if I go back to my other slide, and we remove this face, uh, faces, okay? And then we go, how do I merge these? Object, let's do a search. Maybe it's through the edit menu? Like maybe we get into the edit on here and then we go mesh, merge. Oh, well, that's merging pixels though. Um, is it combine? I should just Google this. Uh, ba-ba-da, I don't want to Boolean them. Huh, maybe what I've thought about is join. I'll try it. I'll try it. It's saying it's not gonna, so let's say it's select this one and then select that one. Object join. I don't know how I didn't see that. Or, oh, does it not work if it's not visible? Sure. Okay. Active object is not a selected mesh. Join? Ah, but it put them both under slide 2. I'm gonna go the other way. Object join. There we go. Now, hopefully that's all the same mesh now. Looks like it's the same mesh. Now we're going to have to stitch this back together. So if we go merge by distance and say OK. Now, hopefully, this should be one vertice. No, it's two. Just have to kind of stitch these back together. Merge by distance. Removed 18 vertices. Good, done. Okay, now we should be good. So now this should be, oops. Now this should be one vertice. It is. Yeah, okay, awesome. So that was probably way more difficult than it had to be, but that's my limited Blender skills, so that's going to be your experience on this channel, so I apologize. Okay, so that's our firing pin hole. Now we do actually also have a firing pin. It's right in here somewhere. Firing pin, right there. Now, it probably does not line up. No, it doesn't line up at all. And you know what? Oh well, that's fine. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there if it ends up mattering. Otherwise, my scale is a little bit off on this, okay? Don't sweat it too much. So let's go material preview and see if we've got the right materials. We do. I do think that my this polygon we should move down a little bit. I think that'll look okay. Looks a little bit stretched, but that's fine. Yeah, that's all right. I think that looks okay. I think that looks okay. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible. Now, why is there a... Is that a problem? I've kind of created a weird polygon there. It's probably okay. Let's just roll with it for now. We can come back in and clean this up later if we really need to. See how there's like two polygons kind of overlapping in here? That's not exactly what I want, but it's not the end of the world, I don't think. So we'll just give it a go. Just give it a go. Now, did I mess with the smoothing on these surfaces? Maybe. See that in here? Maybe I have overlapping polygons there as well. I bet I do. I bet I do. Hang on, let's try to fix that. Because if you look at this, see these polygons here? They're actually duplicated with these. Oh my goodness. Yeah, what did I do up here? Shoot. Okay. I just delete those faces. Right, I still have faces up there. Kind of. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I've made a mess of this, haven't I? How did I manage that? Yeah, see, I've gotten a second layer of polygons here. I, hmm. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Right, because I've inset these, I've created an issue for myself. Yeah. Right. So what about this? What if we get rid of this face? Right. Why is there also? Yeah, there's like two edges here. Yeah, it's because this is an edge as well. Um, so for starters, let's just try this. Let's go here. Let's just remake this face here. Oh, but I don't have a polygon here. I don't have a point. What about this? What if we leave that be? But this, we just scale it in ever so slightly. Sure, that too even. Scale X. Take these two and you just move them down slightly. Sure. And then perhaps that way there's no overlap. Now, I'm not sure why there's also polygons here. I don't think we need those. I'm not sure how I generated that. Right? That's not lining up with this, is it? No, those are just kind of randomly out there. We don't need those. Right? I think we can get rid of these. Might make this a little easier. Right, and then... Sure. Yeah, there's a little bit of overlap then in here. Yeah. Because this is the trick, right? This edge right here is the outer and the inner wall. Yeah. And it shouldn't be. That's not how the geometry should look, but I'm cheating, right? Cheating. um, right. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that and let's see how it looks and see how badly goofed it looks. And hopefully it's not bad. You can see there's a bit of overlap here. I wonder if that's going to be visible in Godot. Yeah, I don't like that it's there though. Right, and there's an easy way to solve it. There's a right way to solve it. Yeah. Okay, I suppose. So we should do is there should be an inner and an outer shell of this slide. See, and it's kind of being hinted at by this, and then we just don't actually have it, right? So go back to solid for a second. Um, what there should be here. Or do we have to back up to go before we scaled that down? We gotta put these all back. That's fine. Fix that again. That just takes a second. Okay. Now there should be overlapping again, right? And that's the problem. So now, what I really want to do think is like, so first of all, we should make a new face across here. And going the other way as well. Like that. And then all of this, I want to inset. This might not work because we're going to have to do it for the sides as well, right? Eesh. We can just kind of fudge it, I suppose, and see how it looks. Right, because our outside surface is also our inside surface, and that's not how it should be. How's this gonna work? I don't know. I don't know. So, let's see. What if we try this? What if we just extrude it? This is gonna work horrifically. Yeah, it's just gonna do the whole thing, right? Extrude manifold. That actually might be more what we want. Nah. Um, Extrude along normals. Yeah, I mean, that's the idea, although it's gonna be horrendous. I mean, it's kind of working. It's just not really working. It might work if we remove these bits, you know? If we stick to just this upper dome kind of situation, right? And what we could do here is we could also just extrude and scale, right? Or we could even extrude it just downwards, right? Oh, and that's kind of weird. We've got some polygons up here. Yeah, this is just a mess. There you go. Yep, there you go. Okay, right. So then we extrude this. Can we just extrude it in place? Like extrude X and then just move it? Yeah, that did make double pixels, but double vertices. Make sure we didn't do that multiple times, right? So extrude. Extrude, escape. So now it's in place, right? Now we move it down a bit. Now that's not working though. That's moving the... That's moving the outside. I don't want to move the outside. So we could just extrude it on the Z-axis. There you go. Okay. Oh, but no, again, that's not doing what I want it to do. I'm a little rusty, okay? Yeah, this is a mess. Maybe we want to do this. See, what if we take this loop of edges, right? Hmm. Like that's kind of the idea, but there we go. Okay, we pull them down, right? And then we scale them in the X direction. Pull them down and in a bit. Now let's go back to the moving tool. Pull them back up a little bit. So we're just trying to like make a bit of a skin here, right? And then let's go with these. Now here's the tricky bit. Uh, right. So what if we get rid of these faces out here? Right, and we need to make sure we're not actually messing with these faces. We want these faces. See the difference there? This is the whole reason we're doing this. I don't like that I've got these doubled up faces, so I'm going to delete these faces. Okay. Now, can I not just do that? Would that not just work? Why do I still have a line here? That's what's confusing to me. That's weird, right? Oh, well, because I've got this polygon here. That's why. That's why. Okay, that's right. You're seeing this edge, I believe, right? Let's move this down and shrink it in the X direction. Okay. Now here's the thought, right? This is going to be a little time consuming, but that's okay. It's going to work. Um, right. Now we might need to do this at the same time. So let's undo that scale for a second. Okay. And let's actually get rid of this loop again. It's going to work. It's going to work. It's just going to be futsy, but that's all right. I'd rather have my mesh be clean and have it correct. So get rid of those. And let's do this again. I mean, this isn't a clean mesh, but it's not a terrible mesh. So I'd rather not mess it up. We've done a lot of this, like kind of hand stitching on this, which is not the right way to do it, I'm sure, but okay, so I just hit extrude enter, right? Now the thinking is if we move and scale these guys together, I don't want to move that bottom corner, so let's go scale X first. Pull them in, not too much, like that much maybe. And then let's detach the bottom edges, and then let's move it down so that makes kind of a uniform kind of little manifold or whatever you want to call it, right? All right. I dig that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to stitch faces, right? sure we're putting that in the right place. Looks like it. We've gotten rid of that out here, and while we're here, we may as well fix this as well. Because we don't need these extra faces. There we go. Okay. I mean, we really don't need these extra... Well, no, there's no... Well, yeah, because we've got it for this gap opening over here, so that's fine, actually. Right. So I've already got a face there. I don't have one here yet. So we've kind of made an inner thickness to the slide now. Now, it doesn't line up properly with anything, right? Okay, now can I make... Think about this. How does this last little bit gonna work? Well, depending on how we want to do it, we can actually merge in this way. Then make these like triangles. Which is not the correct geometry, right, at all for the gun, but it's better than nothing. It's actually gonna look semi-correct. Now, this is not supposed to be a ledge. This is not supposed to be a drop off there. First of all, let's shade everything smooth, so that's better. Right, so really we should bring in all of these sides so that it looks more correct. What we could do for starters, we could just do it over here. Right, we can just do it over here. Like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? So it's about right. In fact, if we go from the back to the wireframe, and we can just kind of roughly line it up. Doesn't have to be perfect at all, but something like that. That's close enough for what we're doing. Right, and then we can get rid of these faces. And then we can make faces going over here. Really, we could even do that way. I mean, sure. Let's get that piece last. We'll get that piece last. How's this gonna look? Right. The thinking is going to be, if you're the player and you look in here, you're hopefully not going to be able to see that difference, and hopefully people won't look at it too closely. That's kind of the thought. We're kind of faking it. We're kind of faking it here, but we could just make this polygon. Oops. Yeah. All right. So we've fudged it horribly there, but that looks passable, I think. And now we have a breach face. So I like that. Okay. That, see how you can see this little edge here? The right answer would be to just push all of this out so it's at the same depth. But how hard would that be to do? Be a little hard, huh? Yeah. We could do it. We could do it. We'd even merge these together. Well, that didn't work. Hang on. Yeah, you see, because that's actually changing the outside geometry. Although, weird that there's two different polygons here. Two different vertices, rather. That should be one vertice. It says it is. No, there's two vertices there. Yeah, that's no good. That should be one. That's one. That's two. Uh. I don't like I don't like messy geometry. And I've kind of done it, but yeah, what if I just do merge by distance? Removed zero vertices, so either my distance uh my distance modifier is too small. That's just one, because I probably already did that one, huh? That's two. Ah, it's goofy. Who messed up this model? Who did that? Oh. Yeah, that's two as well. Goofy. I'm probably... Oh, that's only one. Okay. That's only one. Okay. You know, I wonder if I goofed it. I wonder if I made the duplicates there when I was doing that extrusion just now. Possible. Okay, does it still look okay? Still looks okay. I think we leave it like it is right here. Right, like you could try pulling this out. See, that's revealing the doubled vertices that I have. Oh, I didn't want it center. I wanted it at last. You know, we could try to do something like this, and it might work. But that's just going to get super messy super quick. You have to move this in. That, yeah, I don't like that. Have to move this in like that. Oh boy. Whatever. It could work. You know, and honestly, maybe that's not bad. Although we'd want to straighten everything up, so it's whatever. Um, everything's in a line, but that's just it's just dirty. I don't like it. Oh, I want to redo that. Okay, I think we're caught back. Okay, that'll work. That'll work. Basically, we're faking the inside shell of the slide, only in the spots that you can actually see it. And except for this little edge right here, I think it mostly works. So you can see that this little gap right here. You can see that. but otherwise I think it looks okay. So let's pull it over into Godot and let's see what we get. I think we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So let's unhide everything. Let's see. Show hide. Where's the show hide menu? I think we just tap H too, right? Or Control H. Ah. Or is it unhide? Unhide maybe. Nope. Show hidden objects. Here we go. Alt H. All right. Well, there we go. Okay. Believe it or not, I made this model. Doesn't that doesn't that little escapade fill you with confidence in our modeling skills? Yes. But if we or here, we can just slide the slide back real quick. Oh, well, okay, hold on. We got to get rid of that cylinder. Delete. Delete. All right. There we go. So now, see, wasn't that all worth the effort? See how you can see in there the breech face. Yeah. Now, we're not done yet. Because let's go ahead and export this guy. Let's go preview and just make sure everything looks good. If we go file export, save it. We've got this is all in version control. So if we want to undo that, we can always go back in version control. But let's go export as glib. Export it like this. We're going to want to close Godot because otherwise they fight each other. So get out of this. Go like this. Under the include, there's nothing we actually want to exclude here, so that's fine, other than like a camera, but we don't have a camera in here, so that's good. But under here, we want to apply modifiers. That's what we want to do. Let's do that. It's done. So now we can jump over to Godot. Again. Now, this still might not be in exactly the right place, so we might need to kind of dial in the position of that breach. If you see what I'm saying, but I'll make this, it'll make more sense here in a second. Hopefully we'll be able to tell the change we made here. So if we pull this back, oh, we need to go and get the slide lock on the other side. There we go. All right, so take a look here. Yeah, now you can see that breech face back in there, and you can see that seam I was talking about. It doesn't look terrible. We can fiddle with that more later if we need to, but what we want to do for starters is let's put some rounds in this magazine. Right, and let's stick it in the gun. That's pretty cool how that works. Right, now, here's the important bit. We want, and that's going to be good enough, I think. To see how that breech face is behind, well, it's also very high up. It's not nearly low enough now. Oh boy. Yeah, you see the problem? Nah. That's okay. We're gonna fudge it. It's not right. It's not right at all, but that's okay. It's if we try to get it perfect, we're gonna sit here all day, so that's fine. That's fine. It's better in that it's not clipping through the cartridge, and that's a big deal, so. We'll build it we'll finish it up as janky as it is right now, and then if we want to come back through in the future and make the dimensions more correct, we can do that. All right, all right, all right. I like the noise gate because I can drink my coffee and I don't think that picks up on the microphone because it's being caught by the gate. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Then I have to keep like muting, unmuting myself or whatever. Anyway, um, so let's do what we actually came here to do, which is we want to feed this round into the chamber over there. Is it gonna fit? It looks too big, doesn't it? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. YOLO. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. If it's way too the wrong size, we'll resize it, I suppose. We measured everything in Blender, but because here, like, let's go to Blender real quick. Right? We go from the front. I mean the back. There we go. And then let's go to solid. And we go with our measuring tool. Right? If we measure across here, that is 88. Well, but you know, the breach needs to be bigger because the actual cartridge itself is 10 millimeters to fit into, right? I mean, if you look at a bullet, right? Sure, this is a 9 millimeter bullet. The bullet itself is 9 millimeters, right? But then the case, the diameter of the case is wider than the diameter of the bullet, right? And that's got to fit down in that bore as well, right? I won't take the whole gun apart and show you again, right? But whatever. The the chamber is like this, and then this has got to fit in that chamber, you know? Right. So, because if we isolate just the barrel here, right? So let's look at everything but the barrel. So, uh, there we go. Right, here's the barrel. See how we don't have any headspace in here? Right, and the rifling starts right back at the back. That's not what it's supposed to do either. And, I mean, we could fix that. Right, we don't have the geometry for it right now, but here, if we go... Should connect, it should let us select in a loop like that, right? There we go, like that works. There we go. Okay, that works, that works. Okay. I was just using the wrong combination of buttons. All right. So we've done this in a very janky way, but that's fine. So would we do a loop cut? Yeah, like that. Okay. Sure, something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And then, excuse me. How do we want to do this? Okay, see how that rifling is like extruded out? So that rifling should not extend. Right. Out to the chamber, right? The chamber shouldn't have that rifling. Sorry, I should mute myself then, shouldn't I? All right. So now this is gonna kind of work, but it's not gonna work for the other end, right? Because we're not gonna have these polygons, these points to merge to. Right. So you see the problem down here. So we can do this. Nope, but we want that. We want that. Okay. Yeah, right. Oh boy. Right. It's, yeah. If we want to do this properly, it's going to take a minute. Right, because we delete those faces. We would duplicate these. We would move them down here. Right. We don't have to do this correctly either. Right. We would delete those two vertices on the edge. Right. We'd get rid of that face. Get rid of that face. And then we would go like this. So the rifling starts at the end of the chamber. Like this. There's a better way to do this, isn't there? Yeah, there's absolutely a better way to do this. Right? But then we would go like this. Boom. And then I put 4 groups of rifling, which isn't correct. It should be 6, I think, but I just was kind of doing something easy, which is fine. Right, and maybe we shouldn't care about this, but we're already here. Um, and what this will allow us to do, did I do that right? I think so. Looks right. I mean, we're not getting the position of these vertices exactly right on smack. If we wanted to, I don't know. There's probably better ways to do this, but we could, um, for each of these three vertices, we could either look at it from the orthogonal view, or we could just copy the x and y values from these vertices, these three right here, in each of the four clusters, and then it would be exactly right. Forget that, right? As long as it looks close enough, it's going to be good enough for me. Right. So we got two more to do. I think we can do this. Just going to take a minute. It's just work. Nothing wrong with that. 1, 2, 3. Shift D to duplicate. Moving the plane about that much. Doesn't need to be perfect. And then face, 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 face. And face. Now there's a trick where if I select this, yeah, that makes this easier. Look at that. I didn't know about that until I watched the tutorial and they showed how to do that, and I was like, that's helpful. You just select the edge and then press the F key, and then it fills it in for you without needing to go every single vertice by vertice, you know? That's pretty slick. Delete those faces. Right. So the other option we could do is we could duplicate these ones, and then we could slide them down in that direction, and then they would be smack on. But whatever, this works. Shift D to duplicate. Move them a bit this way. It doesn't have to be exact. And then we can do that trick this way too. So we can go F. We can go here. Nope. Just kidding. Maybe I selected the wrong edge. Doesn't really matter. This is easy enough. Right. Yeah. And here we go like this. Let me just tap F. Fills it in. That's pretty tight. That's pretty tight. And that is actually how it should look, I think. Right? Oh yeah, that's going to be hard to look down in there and see. There should be a shoulder on the rifling, yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Um, so, uh, now we can do the fun part. Maybe, hopefully. This might be tricky, actually. Uh, along normals, might this work? Yeah, that is actually working. Um, kind of. Kind of. Okay, so That's good. And then what we need to do now is come in here and stitch this back up. Right? So go to the move tool just because I'm scared I'm going to accidentally create more geometry on accident. Again, there's probably a tool that would do this easier. Probably a Blender trick, but if I can do it with 30 seconds of clicking, then I'd rather not spend 40 minutes digging on Google for the right for the right way to do it, you know? And maybe 30 seconds of clicking is actually the right answer more often than not, so. Sweet. All right, and then we can unhide. So see how we've got that shoulder in there? That's what we want. Now the funny thing is, was it Alt H? I remember from a minute ago. That didn't work. Oh, it did work. It did work. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So last but not least, um, we want to measure across this. Let's go view, back, up front. Okay, there we go. So, ooh. That's okay. That's because we've got some twist to the rifling. Yeah, that's good actually. Um, but this, we want to be like 10 millimeters. It should be 9.5, and it's 9.6, so that's close enough for me. Good, 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 good. Cool. Those materials all look good. Cool. Alt H. There we go. Cool. All right, that was altogether too much modeling. We did not need to do that, but that's fine. Let's export it again, which means we got to close this again. But that's all right. Save. Export this. Geometry, apply modifiers. Bam. Close Blender. Enough of that. Enough of that. Okay. So what I really had meant to do here was program feeding the cartridges out of the magazine, because what's going to happen is as we snap the slide forward, right, it's going to strip a round out of the magazine, and we can see that. You know, we can do that for realsies. Good angle for it. Right. See, it's going to pick up that round. Kind of hard to get the camera angle right. There we go. Gonna pick that round up. There, it's feeding it into the chamber, right? Whoop. Then we're gonna shuck that out of there because we don't want to have this gun loaded. So there we go. Nothing in there. Safe. But that's the idea. Hey. So I think the first thing I'm going to program is the ability to have the round kind of push out of there like that. on in the magazine. Uh, Now, we could cheat here as well, and it's maybe not a bad idea, and just have the round stay put until the slide closes, and then just have the round jump from the top of the magazine into the chamber, and then just forget about the transition in between those two states. Um, and that would work. And the only reason that would break down is if you tried to watch it like this. You know, if the player comes in here like this, right? Load up a magazine. Get in there. Right. They come around here, and then they very carefully look in the loading gate here, and they watch it, and they say, hey, that round isn't moving, right? Because it should move forward. You know. And they should be able to see that, and it would be cool if they could see that, right? Like that. They should watch that, pick up that round, and feed it in there, and the cartridge should kind of take like a shape, like up, in, you know. So, and at what point, where does it reparent? Because at some point that cartridge is going to be reparented to the pistol, and it's not parented to the magazine anymore, right? And it should be kind of like halfway through that motion, because like I was showing earlier, that round will actually just be held in the slide by the extractor, and then it's attached to the slide at that point. It's not attached to the magazine anymore, right? So, we can be as detailed or simple with this as we want. I think I'm gonna kind of go a middle road. Where like it's parented to the magazine, it's parented to the magazine, and then when it pops out of the magazine, we pass it over to the pistol and parent it to the slide. And then just like everything else, like when the game passes things between different scopes, like when we pass the magazine. Right now the magazine is parented to the gun, right? Now it's parented to the HUD, right? Similarly, this round is currently parented to the magazine. Still parented to the magazine, still parented to the magazine, right? But now it's parented to the HUD, right? So we're going to do the same thing, I think. We'll add some functions to the magazine. That'll just let us slide it along this axis, right? Allow it to slide around. Come on. Here we go. Along this axis here. And then, ooh, when it pops out, that's the point where we'll give it to the gun. I'm gonna take a break. But that's what we're gonna program next. All right. Thanks for checking it out. Keep working on it later. Tally ho.